Now, what do you think about Banjo-Kazooie? Because I know that's a big sort of... A lot of fans really, really want Banjo-Kazooie. I think we've had some conversations on Twitter about Banjo-Kazooie before. But, of course, Banjo-Kazooie is owned by Microsoft, which isn't even just a third-party studio. It's a competitive console manufacturer. So what do you think? Any thoughts on Banjo and Kazooie in particular? Or?
Well, I think it comes down to, again, NCL, how do they feel about it? And I think there's too much pride there from selling their shares in Rare and just burning.
You think they're too proud of selling Rare?
No. I mean, there's too much pride there among the board members that they would, go back and ask to get a character from Microsoft. I just don't. That's just not gonna happen. I mean,
okay.
I honestly, I would love that, and I think it would be a fantastic, totally left field thing. I know legally it's possible because, Phil Spencer is the man, and he's saying,
right,
come on guys, we'll let you have Banjo-Kazooie. I don't think Nintendo would come crawling back to them. I think
despite if they do really well, because I know they're a front runner, not necessarily in the top 2 or 3, but, certainly within the top 10 in both Japan and the West.
I'm sure, I'm sure they're popular. I think it would be great. I just don't think Nintendo's there yet. I think they're too proud. They're too proud as a company. You don't know what they're like. It's a bunch of old men. They're just. They've got a lot of pride, and I just think they're too stubborn to let that happen, to be honest.
I see. So sort of what I'm thinking, and I agree with you, I don't think Banjo and Kazooie are likely. I would love it to happen, but I don't think they are. But what I'm kind of seeing in the argument sort of for Banjo and Kazooie joining Smash is, if they're doing really well in the fighter ballot, that would be a huge potential moneymaker for DLC, because a lot of people would want to come by Banjo-Kazooie as characters. That would be like a huge left field, really hype-worthy announcement among the gaming community. So I can easily imagine them saying, well, this actually might be a good move because so many people want this, so many people would really get excited about this, and it would sort of represent that Nintendo 64 era that doesn't really have any dedicated, devoted representation in Smash Bros., but people really, really want and really, really love. You don't think that will even come close to outweighing sort of everything you just mentioned?
No, and especially because they will have to pay royalties to Microsoft for everything they make off that.
I can't say that I'm particularly hopeful that it will happen. Well, I'm hopeful. I should say I don't think it's going to happen.
Right.
But at the same time, I never saw the Ryu announcement coming. That caught me completely off guard.
Oh, that's right, because Street Fighter V is PlayStation exclusive already.
Right, and yes, Street Fighter 4 was technically, available on 3DS, but it wasn't exactly a very popular version of the game.
And it was so long ago that happened.
Right.
I think one thing that distinguishes Ryu from Banjo-Kazooie, though, is that Ryu is a very Japanese character, and we've seen Nintendo's sort of attitude toward third-party representation in Smash has been very Japanese-centric. I know Shovel Knight kind of is breaking that mold, but Shovel Knight is also very much a throwback to retro, which Nintendo has been very aggressive about promoting in Smash. Banjo-Kazooie, kind of like Isaac, doesn't really fall in that category, and at the same time, he's a Western-created character currently owned and associated with a Western-created platform. So even Sony's Japanese, despite their popularity in the West.
Yeah, well, and another thing is, including Ryu, it opens up to the possibility, maybe, of attracting some Street Fighter fans that don't own Nintendo products to come try out Ryu and Smash Bros. I don't know if they'd attract very many, but at least there's that possibility. Whereas adding Banjo-Kazooie, I don't really know that there's any people out there that wouldn't buy Smash Bros. That will once they know Banjo and Kazooie are going to.
Yeah.
Now the thing I also kind of see in Banjo-Kazooie is this weird moment where nobody who plays Xbox cares about them at all. Everyone who cares about Banjo-Kazooie is on Nintendo consoles and doesn't want to move away from Nintendo consoles. So that franchise is in this weird place where it would be a better asset for Microsoft if it were released as sort of a multi-platform thing, and it would obviously be a better asset for Nintendo if it was on Nintendo platforms at all, because that's what people want. So I see this opportunity that I don't think they will take, but I think they absolutely should, where maybe Nintendo and Microsoft sort of collaborate on this individual franchise and let it sort of happen on, maybe like Nintendo publishes it, Microsoft develops it, comes out on Nintendo platforms, Microsoft gets a ton of royalties, Nintendo gets all the people who want to play Banjo-Kazooie. But, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I just think that it's this opportunity that would make the franchise so much healthier, would make it work for both companies, coming out of this moment where it's not working for either of them. So
yeah, I think this is just another classic. Nintendo should do this. It makes too much sense, and then they won't.
And then they never do it.
Yeah, I think the one way it happens is if Banjo-Kazooie gets some kind of re-release on Wii U.
That's what I was gonna say. Virtual console.
We saw a Metal Gear Solid port to 3DS like a couple years after Brawl came out, and I think that probably had something to do with Nintendo reaching out to Konami for Snake in Brawl. Because otherwise, why would you remake a Metal Gear Solid game on 3DS? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But that's really the only way I see it happening.
Yeah, I get what you guys are saying about like Ryu and Snake, but I don't think there's any point of comparison there. That's like making a false equivalence.
They're not direct competitors to Nintendo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's just not only are they competitors, they're just, the relationship is totally different. They have an ongoing relationship with Capcom and Konami. They don't with Microsoft. They made the deal many years ago, and then that was that. And there's no bridge for them to organize that.
True.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
I think we've just had like a 10-minute discussion about Banjo-Kazooie.
Hello everybody, thank you for listening to this Nintendo Week clip, NWC. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to us here on YouTube for more highlights and discussion videos from Nintendo Week podcast, or subscribe to us on iTunes for weekly breakdowns of all your Nintendo news, discussion segments on subjects, games, and more, and tons of other features. Thanks for listening, and we will see you tomorrow with another NWC.